The stock exchange has been established in 2001. At that time, I was working at the university. I was teaching finance mathematics, and I was asked to join the project by banking union just a few months to help them to launch the project. And I thought, okay, a few months, and then I go back to teach students. But it appears that I stayed for 17 years at the exchange, trying to make the capital market more inclusive, more sustainable. And now I'm glad that I made that decision, because at that time, we have just finished the war. The salary at my university was just 200 euros. I just got married without money, so I decided to join exchange. So that's the reason why I'm here now. So after just 6 months after establishment, we started to trade. So I was the first employee, and I think that I had at that time only 2 employees, but we managed to install the system, translate software, educate brokers, and start trading in just 6 months. But what is more interesting about countries like Bosnia and Herzegovina, that our capital markets are not involved in natural way. It was not like in developed countries where capital market evolved naturally because of demand and supplies, big number of participants. It was a decision, It was a decision to privatize all state-owned companies. At that time, we have listed more than 800 companies. More than 800 companies have been listed on our exchange. But those companies were not ready to be listed. They needed new equity, new investments, so it didn't work well, because state-owned companies had no experience with capital markets. They didn't know how to apply to listing rules. So at that time, all citizens, all populations have been given shares, but they didn't know what to do with those shares, because they didn't learn anything about capital markets, about shareholders, companies. So most of those companies went bankrupt in just a few years. I think more than half of those companies went bankrupt. So people didn't know what to do with shares, very low level of financial literacy. Also, managers in companies didn't work in shareholders' interests. Most of those companies that didn't go bankrupt go private. Directors and their relatives bought companies, and shareholders didn't get anything. Also, we didn't develop our judicial system to protect small people. So in case you are cheated, you could sue those who stole your money. You could sue them for 10 years. And so it's really discouraging, because the system is not efficient. So practically, at that time, we had a very weak investor protection. So also, environmental issues are not the top of the priorities. In case our government are offered by investors to build new power plant, it will agree with that. No matter, it doesn't matter that it would pollute our country. As a consequence of these specifics, majority of population is not investing in capital market instruments. They are not skilled, they don't understand the rules of the market, they don't believe in the market because they lost money they received from voucher from massive privatization. So they are not confident in the market, so it's a vicious circle. So as a consequence, people cannot earn additional income from investment. they rely only on monthly salaries. So their horizon is very short term. They cannot make long-term decisions. So people are only relying on monthly income, missing the best part of the income that is coming from investments. That's the reason why the inequality among the population are rising, because only few % of the population are skilled to invest, to save money, and the rest are not. So that's the reason why we have such a big inequality in most of Eastern European countries and also in the West. So the game is not fair. As a consequence, also, we have politicians trying to convince people that investments are something that is coming from abroad. We somehow outsource the term of investment. So even journalists think that they made mistake if just writing investments. It must be foreign investments. But it's not sustainable if you are only importing capital from abroad, because it leaves your population without income from investment. So our strategic emphasis is mainly related to financial literacy, corporate governance, and how to help SMEs access finance. I will show you what are we doing last 15 years regarding students, regarding financial literacy. As a small exchange, we managed to launch a lot of projects. I will tell you that our annual revenue is just 600,000 euros to make you better understand what we are doing with small money. So we organized, I think, more than 80 seminars for different groups during last 15 years, including teachers, judges, prosecutors, students, managers. Also, we wrote the book about financial market for the high schools, and invited all students for high schools to participate in the competition on capital markets. So we organized firstly competition in schools. We create tests and grade tests, and then invite the best children to participate in national competition. You can see these are the finalists competing for the awards. Also, we provided many schools with computers. I know that you think that computers are not important, but I assure you that there are many talented young people without assets to buy a computer or anything that could help them. I had one employee. He won the national competition in programming, but he didn't have the computer. It's interesting. He was the refugee from Croatia. He didn't have, their parents didn't have money. He drew the keyboard on the paper and imitate, just to remember the place of the letters. But he won the national competition, and probably he's one of the best programmers in former ex-Yugoslavia for Android application. Now he's working, I think, for one German company, but he spent 5 years at exchange. So it's very important to help poor people to start. I will show you how. I think that we help more than 20 schools. See those people without any assets to buy, but it's very important. Even such projects are contributing a lot. Also, we developed a virtual exchange. Just a moment, where young people from schools can compete, and we had so far more than 2,000 leagues, where hundreds of children have been participating, and every year we start new competition, and every year we had more and more students participating in those competition. And finally, we have developed a special software, accounting software, connected with capital market, and it's free for all schools, for all children, so they are able to learn about financial instruments and to record those instruments in accounting. Now, they can better understand what are the investments in securities, so the results are really nice. And some of those children participating in competition are now members of Security Commission, managing investment funds. It's interesting. Also, we award the best thesis, connected with the capital markets. Every year, we invite all students to send us theses from high schools, from faculties, and we reward the best of those theses. All those projects are related to the financial literacy. We are aware that we have to make the games of capital market more fair, and the game could be fair only if all participants understand the rules and have the same opportunity to win. And if not so, then only few % of the participants are exploiting others, because others don't know how to approach to the market. Another field that we are engaged is regarding governance in corporations. So we were the third exchange in the world to adopt the scorecard, the third exchange. So that's the reason why we are often approached by World Federation of Exchanges to help others exchanges to adopt that. I think that we have recently helped Nigerian stock exchange to deal with scorecard. I know there was a lady from Nigeria. So with this scorecard, we managed to improve the governance in the corporations, so we can monitor how they improve, how they disclose financial statements, how they deal with the governance, with boards. We put some pressure on them to improve their transparency and better treat shareholders. We try to make as much as possible more data available to investors, and you can see how we approach in that way. You cannot find such big numbers of data even on London Stock Exchange. You see, this is our biggest company. You can find data on quarterly basis, well structured for last 10 years. So just to help investors to understand the company's balance sheets. And it helped us a lot to gain some interest from abroad and to make our exchange more attractive to the investors. Okay, that's about the exchange, so I'm ready to answer any questions. Okay, just one. Regarding small exchanges, I forget to mention, there is an interesting system we have developed last 3 years. It's about reducing debt in economic system. So we connected all companies, all municipalities, all treasuries into one system. And 4 times a year, they are invited to submit their liabilities. And we managed to reduce debt of SMEs for some 300 million euros for last 2 years. So the system is very efficient. It helps a lot companies, and it could be applied in many developing countries. It's very efficient because companies can repay their liabilities while collecting claims. You see, about 6% of GDP is a result. System could help a lot, could work in many countries. I was 2 weeks in China negotiating in Shanghai Stock Exchange about this system. It could be applied even in China. They are very interested. Recently, we are also bought by a big Chinese investment funds. So Chinese are not only interested to buy Mercedes-Benz shares, they bought even Banja Luka Stock Exchange.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Listening to Milan, it is obvious that Milan and our friends in Banja Luka Stock Exchange are doing a very impressive job. And it seems, even with the last comments, that the work they are doing has received interest from outside our area. I'm positive that Milan is willing to answer easy questions. If there are difficult questions, he will think about it. Any questions? Yes, please.
Very nice to see the encouraging of the, especially the capital market to the youth and students.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. And from 2001 to till, how many companies is listed under this stock exchange? And there is how many mutual fund is there?
Yeah. At the beginning, we had 800 companies and 13 privatization investment funds. Currently, there are about 600 companies listed on our market, but only 200 of them are traded. The market is around 2 billion euro worth. Recently, we mostly trade in bonds because government is issuing bonds through our system, T-bonds, T-bills. Also, municipalities are issuing bonds through our system. Almost every municipality in RS issued bonds through exchanges. They like to use exchange because of some public procurement requirements. They choose to issue bonds through exchange because they are getting the best interest rates. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was interested in how you're using that last slide that had about
Yeah.
on debt for SMEs. What
Okay.
Can you spend a bit more time on that last slide you had?
Yes. Oh, okay. I will show you. We'll show you. We have a special law on multilateral debt clearing system. According to that law, all companies, big, small, are obliged to participate and submit their liabilities to the system. Also, all municipalities or state funds, treasuries, are obliged to do so. As an organizer, we connect all companies, and they all are submitting debt to our system. You can see, and we are exploring cycles and try to eliminate those that are closed. As a result of a big number of participants, it's amazing how much of the debt could be cleared. In the first session, we cleared about 40% of all debt that are entered. 40%. 40%.
How did that happen? Explain that, please.
Because we all are, if you are balanced, you probably have the same amount of the liabilities and claims. So if all companies from your country submit their liabilities, then you are able to explore all cycles that could be eliminated.
Yes.
And if the state is participating, which is the case, all companies are connected to the state because we are all buying tax from the country, from the debt. So we are all paying tax. It is possible to pay tax with this system. Even it is possible to prepay tax in order to collect some claims. And companies often are choosing our system to collect tax, to collect claims while paying taxes in advance. And also some of them are selling more goods and services while collecting debt. So if you cannot collect your claims, then you could choose to sell more goods or to buy more goods. So we help companies to increase their revenue to this system. And what
Is that law that you have, is that available, is that a law that's in most countries, or is this specific to Europe?
It is just in RS, but we have many companies from other entity, from federation that is interesting, and I think that they are going to participate in the next session in bigger numbers. And I think that also our VAT authority will participate, because with this system they manage to collect taxes even from insolvent companies if they have claims.
Yes.
So in RS, our tax authority managed to collect millions from insolvent companies. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good idea.
Yeah, and what is interesting, companies in Eastern, in Southeast Europe are not interested too much in capital markets, because they are relying on banking loans. But with this system, we became very popular among the SMEs because we solved their problems regarding liquidity. And we plan to use this system to attract the company to issue bonds. We call this system as an instant securitization model. If the company is to issue bonds, the company should make prospectus and get approval. But with this system, company can easily say, I owe somebody, and that debt could be used to collect receivables. It's very efficient system. Yeah.
So you say that the banks are for the existing basic, but like this you will be able to solve the problem of a capital for new
Yeah.
businesses. You know?
Yes.
The problem of Eastern Europe is that they are trying to establish new businesses via banks, which is not acceptable and which doesn't work. This is the big problem of Eastern Europe. This is the big problem, and the problem is coming from EU. When they're at the very beginning, they were trying to help us, but they didn't do it in a right manners.
Yeah.
Banking are giving loans to you by paying for 10%, 15%, and you cannot establish any SME. Because banking law could work for the current existing business, not for a greenfield business.
Yeah.
Not
They
to
don't.
create a business.
They don't give law for.
They don't
for
give a law in fact.
at all,
yeah.
because you don't have collateral.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
give law at all. And it
This is the
is
problem in Eastern Europe.
banks
Also
also
in my countries.
also like this system because they collect some loans through this system.
Like this, you solve the problem. That,
Yeah,
this
they
will
also
solve the
use
problem.
this system. And
And it will work.
yeah,
Yes, final question.
I yield my question.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
What you have witnessed in the last question is what you say in exchange, acting in collaboration. So Milan, thank you very much. Indeed, it was impressive. And what is impressive, more impressive, they are the initiatives that you have taken. And obviously, there is a lot of interest among the participants. Thank you, Milan, once more.
Thank you all.